Hey loves, so I'm back with another video. Today we're going to be doing a acrylic nail application, how to build an apex, just stuff that you as a beginner might be struggling with. So let's get right into this video. Okay, if you guys haven't seen my shaping video, go ahead and watch that first because this is part 2 of that video. Right now you'll just see me picking up a large bead, and I am picking up a large bead for the first bead because if you're a beginner or if you are more advanced, I would say as a beginner, learn how to obviously pick up smaller beads, but also learn how to pick up big beads as well. You need to learn how to do every type of bead. But if you catched in the beginning when I had picked up that monomer and that powder, you'll see again how I pick it up. I also have a tip for you guys. My dapping dish is pretty small for right now. I usually have a bigger dapping dish, and I suggest you guys have a bigger dapping dish when you're working with a bigger brush. My brush is a size 12. As you can see, when I dip it in the monomer, it's not very effective, so my beads probably won't come out as how I would like them to, but they're coming out pretty okay. And I really want you guys to pay attention as to how I am picking up my bead and how I'm using my brush to lay the bead down and blend it in. As you can see, once I first started that first bead, I used the tip of my brush to kind of lay it in place. And then as I was going down, I used the tip of my brush and I used the body of my brush. You use the body of your brush when the bead starts to dry a little bit. You could also see that when I am placing the bead, I don't wipe my brush immediately. That's because I kind of know my ratio, and I know when a bead is too wet and I know when it's too dry. This powder is kind of more on the wet side, but when you lay it down, it does become dry, if that makes sense. So that's why I just use most of what I have, what liquid I have on my brush, and I think it's mainly because of the dapping dish I'm using. It's not picking up as much liquid as I want it to, so that could be a reason why I'm just using whatever liquid is in my brush. But as you can see, that cuticle bead was a medium bead just because I'm using it right above the last bead and pushing it up towards the cuticle. As you can see, the bead did dry a little bit in the middle, so I'm gonna go back in and use another bead to blend it seamlessly and just get everything, or just get what I missed. And as you will notice, once I start to lay another bead to basically just clean it up, it's a small bead. You don't want to add too big of a bead because you don't want to make the nails too thick. And in the next couple of clips, you'll see me also doing like the same thing basically, but I'm reconstructing the apex because I did it kind of thin, or the acrylic more on the thinner side, but you'll just see me doing that. This is in real time, guys, so I didn't speed up nothing, and you'll see me just showing you how I do it in real time and how long it really does take me to do acrylic nails as well. Okay, so we're gonna jump into the next nail. Also, before anything, check all different sides to see if you missed any spots or if your acrylic is becoming bumpy. That will just help you to clean up your acrylic more and where you need to place your next bead. And I also wanted to say, you'll see when I place this bead, it's falling from left to right. This is because I'm not placing the finger down. When you place the finger down, it's going to automatically just droop down. So just make sure you're drooping it down. I had to do it how I did it because of the frame in the video, but the gravity will help pull down that bead. Also, you guys can see that I am wiping the sides of the brush from left to right or right to left. Whichever way you want to do it is fine, just as long as you're not making the sidewalls thick. And just practice using the tip. See how I'm using like the tip to the middle of the brush? It's not the whole full brush. Like I'm barely even using the middle of the brush. It's mainly the tip of the brush to help smoothen those sidewalls. You don't want to make them too thick. Just drag it down. Use light pressure. Work on pressure. Work on how you hold your brush and how hard you're pushing that bead down. You do not want to push the bead down too hard. But that's why I'm also going into how wet of a bead or how dry of a bead you use, because that also will determine how much pressure you use as well. So as you can see, this bead is more on the wet side, so that's why you see me wiping my brush, because I don't want to get that acrylic stuck in my brush. And then if your acrylic becomes chalky or if it becomes sticky, wipe your brush, dip it in some monomer, and then wipe your brush again and do basically what I'm doing right now, just blending that bead into the nail. And when you are wiping your brush, use a lint-free wipe so you don't get lint in your brush or you don't get acrylic stuck. Continuously keep replacing your lint-free wipes just so that it doesn't become too wet and acrylic doesn't get also stuck in your brush. It's very important to keep your brush clean when you are doing nails so that your application could come out smoother. And also another thing that I want to point out is my brush. I have a video on how to crimp your brush. I will also link that down below for you guys. Crimping your brush is super important. It will help you pick up better beads, and it will help with your cuticle application if you guys struggle with cuticle application. And as you will see, most of these nails I did bigger beads or I did smaller beads, and it's all fine to use how many beads you want to use. Sometimes I just like to practice using more beads, and sometimes I just like to practice doing lesser beads. It's fine. But one thing that I want to say about using lesser beads, I prefer using lesser beads just because you won't get a lot of bumps in your acrylic and you'll have a smoother application as of you using multiple beads, because you do have to blend multiple beads together. So if you're a beginner, just practice a 1 bead method or practice a 2 to 3 bead method, but obviously practice doing multiple beads first. But once you feel like you have the hang of your acrylic to powder ratio, then I would go ahead and start practicing your 2 bead and 1 bead method. I promise you, your application will come out like 100% better and 100% smoother. And I do have a video on how to do 1 bead method. It's on my page already, but if you guys want an updated video, please comment down below and I will do an updated video. Also, I'm gonna jump right back into the video. As stated before, when you notice that your acrylic is too thin, find where you want to put your apex. I usually put it not too far down the middle and not too far up from the cuticle, but I do it a little bit more above the middle. Above to like kind of the cuticle area, not really the cuticle area, but like more that way than in the middle. You just find your area that you want. You just find your area that you want your apex, put your bead down, blend from the top using the tip of your brush, and then blend the bottom. When I first started doing nails, my acrylic was super thick, and that's because I didn't know how to work with the acrylic. And also, you guys see how I mentioned before about it being sticky. This is what I'm talking about. I wipe my brush and then I dip it in some monomer, and then I wipe my brush again, and then I just blend it down. See, you'll see me doing it a couple times because that acrylic will get stuck in your brush. And also another thing is, you guys can see how my monomer is getting low. This will also affect how your beads come out, and that's why my bead was more on the chalky side, because I need more monomer. So there's a lot of things that come into play when you pick up a bead. Sometimes it's really not you, and it could be like the fact that I don't have monomer, or it could be the fact that it's very hot in your room or it's very cold in your room. Those things do affect how your beads come out. And yeah, just make sure that you're in a room that's not too hot and not too cold. I did have my air running, but it was fine. It didn't make my beads too wet. Like, I know how to work with beads, but as a beginner, you'll need to understand and learn those things as well. And in the next couple clips, you don't see me adding monomer, but I do refill it just because it's really low, and you can see how it's affecting my beads. They're coming out very small and they're coming out very sticky. So yes, like I said, this is all free game, guys. Like, I'm giving you guys free game, free everything, so it can really help you. And I really want to empower anybody that is willing to work hard and do nails. Like, everything that I'm showing you is everything that I learned on my own. I am self-taught, so I mainly, when I first started, I watched YouTube videos on how to do certain things, and it was just 100% dedication and 100% practice. Like, you have to be dedicated, you have to get up and you have to practice I was practicing every night after work doing nails. Like, I was so dedicated to do this, and I'm still dedicated. That's why I am trying to give out and do videos for you guys, because I really want to help any beginner that needs help doing acrylic and wanting to learn the nail industry. And also, like stated before, I am building that apex again. I blend up first and then I blend down, and you can see I am using light pressure. It does look like I'm using a lot of pressure, but I'm really not. I'm just using light pressure because, number one, you don't want to move the acrylic off your nail, and you want to use every bit of that acrylic and not brush it off. So mainly in these next two nails, it's basically the same application. On one of these nails, I do a 2B method, and I think it's the pinky, just because I wanted to show you guys how to do it, and it's a little bit easier for me because it is a smaller nail. So yeah. And also, see, like, I'm really showing you stuff that really be happening. Like, there is acrylic, as you guys can see, stuck in my brush. I do end up cleaning it in like probably like the next 5 minutes after this nail, just because it really does affect your powder and how you lay it down. Like, it will come out like really streaky, and it's not good to work with a brush like that. I also, like I stated, I do have a video on how to crimp your brush, but I also show you guys how to maintain and clean your brush, because it's super important that you maintain your acrylic brush so that it can last for a long time. I've used this brush for at least a year to 2 years, just by maintaining my brush and knowing how to clean my brush. So I will have that video linked down below for you guys, just as the shaping video for like the part 1 before this video. And I did it 3 bead method. I did 2, and then I worked with a medium bead for the cuticle bead. I am not placing this bead right above the cuticle. I'm placing it right above the last bead and pushing it up towards the cuticle. And like stated before, it is very helpful to have a crimped brush because this will help you push it into the cuticle and not flood your cuticles. It will help you push it in the right areas and make your nails look 100% better. So this one is my 2-bead method. I am placing a larger bead, but I am also making sure to focus on those side walls. A lot of the time, the acrylic will go over right to left, and you just want to pick up that bead and flip it over and blend it down. Like I said, I am using the tip of my bead to basically brush that acrylic down. And once you get to the bottom, you don't really need to focus on the top as much. Just focus on blending the bottom more. And then wipe that excess off from the bottom. And just make sure you get all that off so you don't have to take it off when you file. I'm sorry, I keep sniffling a lot. I do have allergies right now. So please just bear with me. But yes, I'm still just trying to take that bottom part off. And then after this, you'll see me doing the second bead, which I am using a medium bead, and we'll do the same thing. Basically, I want you guys to really pay attention also, like stated before, to how I am picking up the monomer and how I am tapping my brush into the powder. Usually for a medium to large bead, I tap 2 times, and large I tap 3. But it also helps to know how much liquid you're using and how much liquid is on your brush. Usually when I dip my brush for in the liquid for a big bead, I usually don't wipe a lot. I just wipe the tip off and then tap 3 times in the powder. And then medium, I wipe it in the middle and then tap it 2 times in the powder. And then for a smaller bead, I usually just wipe it in the middle still and then just tap twice. And usually, like, I know how much I'm picking up just by the pressure. So this concludes this one-on-one lesson. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, and I will have those videos linked for you below. And I will be coming out with more videos. Thank you guys for watching.